And with us in the studio is Kay Morgan. Kay, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks.
And Kay, you have done one thing that you've done here, and it's kind of a complicated circle of things, but this is how it works out. Kay is one of the editors of Beyond the Notches, Stories of Place in New Hampshire's North Country. And I'm just breezing through this. It looks like a fabulous book. So what's the description of the book?
I would describe the book, it has 50 new essays, it's lavishly illustrated, and it focuses on the North Country. We define the North Country anything from Franconia, Notch, and north to the Canadian border. So it has a whole range of very eclectic essays covering the whole region.
Well, that's terrific.
Including the Conways.
Including the Conways. And now you were involved in the New Hampshire Writers Project, and that's how this kind of all circled around for you being here today.
Right. I was at the New Hampshire Writers Project conference yesterday, which took place at the Mount Washington Observatory Discovery Center. I presented about the book. The focus of the conference was on literature of the White Mountains. So this is the newest piece of literature about the White Mountains.
And of course, there's a lot of literature about the White Mountains.
Yes.
But a lot of it, I don't want to diss any of it, but a lot of it dates back, of course, it dates back to the 1700s too. So when did this come out, this book?
June 24th.
So it's
hot.
It's fresh off the press.
It's very hot off the press.
Yeah. And that's great. Now, how did you compile these stories, and how did you choose the articles that were in this book?
It's been a long process. This book is 4 years in the making. The three of us who edited the book, John Harris from the Monadnock Institute, Mike Dickerman from Bondcliff Books over in Littleton, and myself have been working with authors in the region, with historical societies, with community members, and with high schools to gather the essays that we have.
That's terrific.
And it's been an interesting process, I'll tell you.
And I was kind of breezing through it. So some of the essays are about current events, but some seem to be about older events.
Yeah, I think we have a really interesting mix of both looking at the past and looking forward to the future. The last section of the book is called Competing Visions, and it's really looking at what do we want this region to be. And are we going to be a tourist destination? Is that the only thing? What will we do to replace the forest economy? What will we do with global warming as it affects the northern forest? We have a lot of interesting and provocative essays in that section.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so we hope to spark a lot of community dialogue actually around the essays in the last part of the book. At the same time, I think we have a good basis in looking backwards. So we have an excellent essay about the development of the public forest. And this book is really appropriate this summer in particular as we begin to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Weeks Act, which created the National Forest. So we have an essay that leads up to that.
I was just going to ask that question if there was
Yeah. Well, we have it. We have it all. It was. It really was an interesting process because we tried to represent the different communities in the region as well as some of the different important themes. Obviously, the forest economy has been here for all time. What do we have for farming? We have an essay about farming in the region, and just a whole host. We go back in time to look at some of the archaeology and the indigenous people who were here long time ago, as well as more recently, and the geology of the region. It has some of everything.
Well, that's terrific. Now, where can people pick up this book if they're
It's available at White Birch Books.
So right here in North Carolina, White Birch Books.
Right, and actually I talked with Laura Lucy yesterday. They're going to do a reception for authors, probably not until close to Christmas, but it'll make a wonderful Christmas present.
Oh yeah, and they've got a great New Hampshire section right there, so that'll fit right in with all the books that they have there. So this has probably been a lot of fun. I can imagine.
It has been a lot of fun.
You've probably read more articles than you can possibly imagine.
Well, it's an interesting process to have 3 people doing the editing. So we all read every essay. Then we had meetings, very long meetings, where one of us would argue for keeping this or getting rid of that or shaping it in a different way. And you know, we all work together well, fortunately.
Yeah. And one of the things you mentioned, which is important to me as a reader, lots of pictures. Takes up a lot of the pages here. No, but so it adds a lot to it. You've got the pictures both of the historical and then also the contemporary.
Right, and I should say that the Monadnock Institute, which is really behind this project, is located down at Franklin Pierce University in Rindge. So we're not in the region, but we wanted very much to make this done in the region and by local authors. So we had research interns who spent summers working in local historical societies to find the historical photos and to talk about what the themes were that would be important to that community.
Well, that's terrific.
So I think we were successful.
That's terrific. So again, it's called Beyond the Notches, Stories of Place in New Hampshire's North Country. You can pick it up right at White Birch Books, but I'm sure all throughout the state it's going to be available.
Right.
So Kay, thanks so much for coming down today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be back here in a minute on White Mountains.